Okay, so in the last video, we looked at using the eraser tool and the blob brush tool combined with some shapes tools to create unique and interesting shapes. In this video, I want to introduce you to some tools that are down a little bit lower in your tools panel, and they are, let me see if I can stretch this out. I guess I can't, so we're going to look at it this way because I'm doing this on my laptop, which means I have to figure out where they are. They're here, but you have a single column panel, so they'll be a little further down. But they're underneath the warp tool, and we've got the warp tool, the twirl tool, the pucker tool, the bloat tool, the scallop tool, and the crystallize tool. Now, all of these tools have very powerful effects, and what I want to show you, go away, what I want to show you is the effects that these tools have, especially when applied in a subtle way. So you don't want to overdo it with these tools. If you do, you're not going to get unique shapes, you're just going to get a bunch of random puke on the page. So you don't want to do that. So for starters, I'm going to show you the twirl tool because it's a crowd favorite. And I'm going to put it right over this perfect square that I made by holding the shift key while I did my rectangle. And once I have it where it's hovering over the center and I've got the little tooltip that says this is the center, I'm just going to single click. And immediately I have a unique shape. If I single click again, I can make that more defined. It looks almost like a ninja star. It's lovely. Okay, so that's one quick thing that you can do. I'm going to go ahead and grab a rectangle again. We're just going to keep sticking with making the perfect square. I'll use the shift key. And this time I'm going to grab the pucker tool and we'll do the same trick. We'll hover over the center and click once. And that's pretty slick. Further, we'll get the same thing again. Make a square. And this time we are going to use the crystallize tool. Hover over the center, click once, click twice. Okay. Now the great thing is when you can combine these things together. So now we'll go ahead and add the pucker tool to the use of the crystallize tool. And now we've got something even more interesting. So quick ways to make unique shapes. Now imagine combining these shapes with what you've learned about the Pathfinder in the previous exercise on simple shape math, and the eraser tool, which is what you learned in the last video, as well as the blob brush tool, and you realize that you can start to get some very powerful effects. Now there are other things under here. There's the wrinkle tool, and the scallop tool, and the bloat tool, and the warp tool, and I recommend experimenting with all of them. However, the one thing that I would say is not to overdo it. It's very easy to get something that looks like a whole lot of nothing. I mean, you can just twirl something forever, but it's very organic looking, but in terms of shape, it's really not much shape at all anymore. It just becomes line. I mean, truly, in its essence, it is shape, but in a graphic design standpoint, this just becomes a bunch of lines whenever you over-apply the twirl tool, for example. Not to mention, more of what I get from students is something like that combined with something like this, and then it just gets to be just a great big globule, and I just don't know what's going on. So, you know, maybe experiment with that just to get it out of your system, and then realize when it comes to actually creating some shapes for me that I want something more like these and a little less like this. Okay, enjoy.